Yo, bit of a later one today, but had a good productive day today. I wanted to go play some basketball, get some shots up, but unfortunately he was busy, so I couldn't get no shots up. Trying to provide for the team, but let's get it. Block out time in advance. Of all we've learned about time management at Franklin Covey, after working with millions around the globe, if I had to narrow it down to one main idea, it would be this. Set aside 30 minutes each week to plan your week and watch it change your life. I repeatedly heard my father say, if you're only planning on a daily basis, you're just managing crises. And if you knew that 30 minutes of weekly planning could significantly leverage the other 168 hours of the week, why would you not want to do it? I'd watch Dad do this weekly planning, usually on Sunday nights. He'd sit down, write down his various roles, then think through what he wants to accomplish for each role during that week. He was big on listening to one's conscience and asking the question, what is the most important thing I can do in this role this week? He also believed that relationships are the stuff life is most of, and that effective people prioritize people over things. Relationships over schedules. My colleague Sue Darth Douglas tells about an extraordinary friend of hers, Captain Denny Flanagan of United Airlines, who does this very thing. If anyone knows how to put things first, how to put first things first, that is his passengers, it's Denny Flanagan. In this world where air travel is so often such a trial, no one treats passengers the way he does, I know. At the end of a miserable 20 hours in an overcrowded gate at the Chicago airport, he was the captain who would either get us to Los Angeles before the airport closed for the night or not. The timing was critical and really tight. I was mesmerized when he took the microphone and railed all the passengers. He told us that he knew he had experienced a horrible day full of delays, and he wanted to keep the airline's promise to get us to California, but he would need all our help. The next thing I knew, the passengers were lining up, helping each other with kids, strollers, walkers. The plane was boarded more efficiently than I have ever seen. And cheerfully by every passenger, the flight attendant saw the captain holding babies, helping passengers get on and loading their luggage, and they followed suit. About 2 hours into the flight, I received a personal note from him thanking me for my loyalty. I still have it. In years of flying and millions of miles, I've never seen another airline pilot do what he did that night. Later, I discovered that this is typical of Denny Flanagan. If there's a division or a delay, he orders through pizza or McDonald's for everybody on the plane. While they eat, he explains in detail why there's a delay and jokes around with them. By the way, this is my first flight, he says. Then, as passengers make nervous noises, he adds today. Captain Flanagan raffles off prizes for his passenger. He calls parents of unaccompanied children to let them know their kids have arrived safely. With his phone, he takes photos of pets in the cargo area and shows them to their owners so they will know that their pets are safe and comfortable. He personally helps passengers in wheelchairs aboard the plane. He distributes his own business cards to frequently flyers with a handwritten note thanking them for flying with them. Nobody requires him to do any of these things, but in true proactive form, he says, every day I work from my heart and choose my attitude. You'd think that the captain of an airliner would have more important things to do than take pictures of pets, but to Captain Flanagan, this is the essence of putting first things first. He clearly believes that spending the majority of his time in quadrant 2, preventing injuries, planning ahead, and building relationships, results in a great return on friendship, customer loyalty, and personal joy. I wish you success in saying no more often so that you can say yes to the people and things that matter most to you. Part 3, Public Victory. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, I think this is where we're heading into part 4. Just give me 1 second, just so I don't want to make sure I don't jump ahead. Habit 4. Okay, so I want to save this for tomorrow. I think we'll keep this one short. I know. I just want to keep sure. I just want to make sure everything's kind of in line. Making sure that my the way that this is formatting, I want this to be in a good way. So we'll finish habit 3 now, and then we'll go into public victory after. But let's talk about habit 3. Just briefly talking about what we just read. I like the idea that the captain said that he chooses his attitude on a daily basis. I'll read it one more time, but he says, every day I work from my heart and choose my attitude. I think that's a great way to demonstrate not only what quadrant 2 means for you, but to wake up every day and say, hey, I get to choose my attitude in the way that I want to treat other people. Perhaps I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but that's not going to determine how I'm going to treat others. That's not going to determine my day. Or even as a pilot, stressful. Having to deal with a lot of people, the pressure, but still choosing to have a good attitude and go above and beyond, right? The example where he, was in a situation where there was a lot of backup delays, but he still decided to get everyone in order. Decided to say, hey, obviously we're in a high stress situation. I want to get you guys to California, but please work with me and we'll get there as a team. And I think that's very important. And I think that shows the amount of attitude and optimism he had in his head. So very important message, very important, habit to start portraying for sure. But in the context of the overall theme of habit 3, from what I've grasped, is definitely being able to identify what is in your reach, but how do you get there? And I think what really came across to me is your planning. How do you deliberately plan your day? How do you deliberately plan your week to make sure that what you're doing on a daily basis or weekly basis is getting towards your goals? And apart from that, you have to identify when to say no, because let's say your friends want to hang out, but you have something scheduled. Now, you're in a predicament, but you go back to your value system and say, hey, what's really important to me? And if you identify saying, hey, no, I don't really want to hang out, I really want to finish my work, then I'm going to go ahead and do that. Even with the example that Kobe said about himself, about when he wanted to write his book, and he was presented with a great community impact, a role or some kind of position, he eventually said no to his own mentor that he's been with for a very long time. He said no to him because I really want to focus on the thing that's important to me. Now that is important to me, but this is more important to me. So I think that goes without saying that saying no is a very hard thing to do. But if you can start to say no to small things and gradually build up to it being a habit where you're telling your friends or where you're telling yourself, hey, no, this is not the right thing to do right now because it's either urgent or it's not of a great importance right now. I think we'll go a long way and perhaps even motivate other people around you to say, you know what, he's saying no to all these different things. How can I start to portray those traits, or how can I start that habit in my life so that not only are you influencing yourself, but also the people around you. I don't want to yap for too long. Like I said, it's going to be a short one. I want to make sure that the sequence of the way I'm reading this book is in line and we're not skipping ahead into things or merging different chapters or different, habits. So yeah.